Good evening. ये इसमें डालो, इसमें डालो। नहीं, यहाँ से बोल रहा हूँ। ये क्या है, पानी? नहीं, ठीक है। बंद कर दो, बंद कर दो। ठीक है। You have any problem? Sound देख लेना। You have any problem? Sorry? Who will answer this question? Who will answer this question? His question is, what do we mean by integrating Indian economy with the rest of the world? Sorry? Sorry? Yeah, because otherwise you remain behind. What the world already has, you have now become a part of that world. It's like saying that when supposing you go abroad for the first time, you see things, you are mesmerized. You start wishing, oh God, we should have been having this in India also. So it's like this. What are sovereign wealth funds? What are sovereign wealth funds? Sorry? Who can answer this question? What are sovereign wealth funds? Sorry? No, in fact they are set up by the government. Saudi has one of the biggest sovereign wealth funds. Dubai has funds which are set up by the government. Sovereign means government. Any other question? State of the art. The questions that are being asked are very, very funny. The next question is, what is the difference between latest and state-of-the-art technology? In which case I can ask you, what is cutting-edge technology? You understand cutting-edge technology? Yes. So, yes. Any other question? Any other question? Shall we start? Huh? We have economic student. She will tell us what is a debenture. You are economic student? You have economics background. He is asking what is a debenture. What is a debenture? Sorry? Debenture is? Have you heard of bond? Not James Bond. Bond. Bond means a piece of paper which is used to borrow money, which carries rate of interest and maturity period. Debenture is nothing but bond. But generally companies issue debentures, government generally issues bonds. So debenture is a loan instrument When a company has to raise loan, it may issue debentures. There are two types of debentures: convertible debentures, non-convertible debentures. Convertible means company offers you that after a period of time, so many debentures will be converted into so many shares. All right? Shall we proceed? Where we finished yesterday? Yeah, which is the demerit we have to start with? Sorry? Which is the next demerit? Yes, yes. I ask you a question. I ask you a very simple question. Of the total FDI which has come into India since 91, which are the prominent sectors in which quite substantial FDI would have come? Your answer should be IT, pharma, telecom, software, hardware. Little less than 50% has come in these sectors. Now I ask you a question. Do they not give very quick returns? Yes or no? The returns are very quick. The latest figure is just 11% has come in infrastructure. You understand? So, generally, a large chunk of investment they may try to focus on areas which give them quicker returns. That means that we have to attract more and more investments in sectors which may be high technology sectors and sectors which are like infrastructure. As I said, now about 11 to 12% of total FDI is coming in the infrastructural sector. So there is a trend of increasing investment in infrastructure. All right. So that is what you have said, that they by and large try to concentrate a large chunk of their investments in sectors which give them quick returns. Right? Which means your policy framework, the Government of India's policy framework should be such that it attracts more and more of investments in long gestation period infrastructural sectors. Okay? Next. Very simple point. What's the next one?
Foreign companies may concentrate their investment in big and macro terms, resulting in greater regional disparities.
Okay. I'll tell you something very interesting. Since 1991 till date, more than 70% of total FDI has come in 7 states. Shall I give you the names of those states? 2 in the western region, 3 in the southern region other than Kerala, and 2 in the northern region, Delhi and Haryana. More than 70%. I ask you a question, how much foreign investment has gone to Bihar, UP, MP? Yogi organized a conclave. MP organized conclaves. They have only said FDI proposals worth so many lakh crores have come. Their proposals, whether they have materialized or not, you don't know. More than 70% has come only in 7 states. Ironically, states which are rich in natural resources, very little foreign investment would have gone. So, which means that A, maybe those states don't have good infrastructure, obviously, and B, it would depend so much upon the absorption capacity of the population of those states. Maybe those states are not as forward-looking as other states are. So, this is a fact brought out by even the Ministry of Commerce. All right, so this is a factual information that I have given you. The last criticism, I think, is on transfer pricing. You need to write this because you have to understand what is the transfer pricing practice. Please write. Transfer pricing practice means that the subsidiary of a foreign company operating in a country, subsidiary of a foreign company operating in a country, say India, may buy some of its materials as well as other inputs from its parent company abroad. Deliberately at a high price. Full stop. Having bought this at a high price, comma, more foreign exchange will go out of India to that country. Full stop. At the same time, it means that this subsidiary will show high cost of this material. Subsidiary will show high cost of this material and thereby low profits, resulting in lower tax liability. For this subsidiary of a foreign company. Full stop. Thus, it makes a two-way gain. it makes a two-way gain. Put a dash. One, that more foreign exchange goes out of India to that country. More foreign exchange goes out of India. And two, this foreign company pays lower taxation. So read what you have written. Let me see whether you have a doubt understanding this. I just forgot to tell you, I might just leave 15 minutes before schedule. I have to rush somewhere, right? I have to go to the airport to catch somebody. I'll leave you 15 minutes before 9 o'clock. All right. Okay? Happy? Sorry? So have you understood what is transfer pricing practice? I'll explain to you. Subsidiary of a foreign company is operating in India. It has to get some raw material, some parts, some wares from its parent company abroad. Correct? It may show that it has bought these at a high price from its parent company, which means more foreign exchange goes out of India to that parent company. At the same time, having shown that it has bought at a high price, it will show high cost of production in India. High cost of production means low profits, and it may end up paying low taxation. So this is a worldwide practice adopted by MNCs, not only in India. And every country has adopted some mechanism to prevent this. In India, what we have done is we have adopted a mechanism which is called APA. Don't write. I'll explain to you. It's called Advanced Pricing Arrangements. What are these? Government of India enters into confidential agreements with multinational companies, in which this company has to indicate the pricing pattern of its pricing from its parent company abroad. Any deviation from that pattern beyond a certain defined percentage would invite and attract heavy penalties by the Government of India. These are confidential agreements called advanced pricing arrangements. Mean in advance, a subsidiary of a foreign company has to indicate that this is what we want to import from our parent company abroad. It indicates the pricing pattern. These are confidential agreements between the Government of India and MNCs, so that this would help prevent this practice of transfer pricing. Is that clear? Nobody is going to ask you what are APAs, Advanced Pricing Agreements. But it was important for me to tell you, because you would have asked a question, sir, if this is a worldwide practice, what have countries done? So we are concerned with what India has done. Most other countries would also have, created a mechanism to check this practice. So it's like saying that every coin has two sides. While foreign direct investment is the best form of foreign capital, every country has to keep in mind problems associated with the practices of foreign companies. All right? And don't forget, I repeat, foreign companies are very smart. Financially, they are very powerful. It's not easy to come to a country and start operating in the country. I gave you yesterday example of Amazon. Is it easy? Loading, packing, transporting, delivery, logistics, all these being done so perfectly. You have the ONDC also, Open Network for Digital Commerce. It is running into some problems. All right. So, of course, it has a lot. Many Kirana stores have already registered themselves with ONDC, right? But there have been instances of corruption and so on. Quite a few articles have come in Economic Times in the last month and a half on ONDC. All right, so the government is trying to make sure that things are sorted out. So foreign companies are, the moment you say they are multinational companies, by definition, they are operating in different parts of the world. And they will take quite some time to decide whether they have to go and set up their office in a country. They would have thoroughly studied the markets of that country, the tax structure of that country, and other relevant issues before they plunge. I only know that IKEA, which is a furniture giant, Swedish furniture giant. If you were to go to London and go to IKEA store, it's Swaminarayan temple, a little far off. But it is so huge that you can't finish that store even in 4 days. And IKEA's framework setup is, wherever IKEA is set up, I've seen it in quite a few countries. It's a Swedish base in Stockholm. Wherever IKEA sets up a store, there is a restaurant attached to it, a cafe attached to it. The reason is very obvious. You may take quite some time to shop. You may get tired. Just come to the cafe, relax, for half an hour, go back again. So, when IKEA wanted to set up its store in India, Hyderabad it has a store now, the first store, right? Government of India raised objection. You can't set up a cafe. Nonsense. This is pure nonsense. I mean, why? In fact, you will be surprised if you go to NASA. NASA, first thing first, NASA is, you can't finish NASA. It is so huge. First thing first they do is, they take you inside, treat you, huge hall, they treat you with good nice snacks, right? So that you finish the entire NASA in their golf carts or other vehicles, Similarly, Tesla factory, Elon Musk, it is in San Francisco, 40 kilometers from, in fact, within San Francisco. If first thing first you want to go and see how Tesla is being manufactured, first thing first, very beautiful arrangement. You sit there, take a cup of coffee, that decanters are there, right? Small little snacks are there. Then, in the golf cart, everything is being done by robots. Every bit of it. Every bit of it is being... Now, Indian government is not allowing Tesla to come to India. All kinds of discussions are going on. So, and once it comes into... Sorry? Yeah. There import duty and so on. Quite a few things. Some of the issues are there which are being sorted out. All right? Okay. So, let's move on to the next. I gave you subheads. FDA policy towards? Yes. I want to ask you, any idea what is the size of e-commerce market in India at present? What is the size of e-commerce market in India at present? Close to $150 billion. It was hardly $16 billion in 2011. Now in 2023, e-commerce market has a size of over $150 billion. Can you deny that all of us are getting so used to e-commerce? Sitting at home, we want to order things. Yes or no? So it's important that the government of India laid down guidelines to regulate, FDI guidelines to regulate foreign e-commerce companies. And these guidelines were laid down. India's FDI policy towards this foreign e-commerce companies was laid down in 2020. So obviously books don't give. So please note down one by one what are the guidelines laid down. What is India's FDI policy towards foreign e-commerce companies? Number one, %100% FDI. 100% FDI is permitted under the automatic route for a foreign e-commerce company. Number two, these companies are to be called marketplaces. Marketplaces and not retailers. Because goods are bought through them. And not from them. Full stop. Same point. They only facilitate bringing together buyers and sellers on their platform. Three, they cannot offer discounts on their own but only on behalf of the sellers who sell goods through their platform. Number 4, they cannot adopt predatory means aggressive. They cannot adopt predatory pricing practices. Next, they are not allowed to have equity stake in any of the vendor companies. They cannot allow, what have you written? They are not allowed to have equity stake directly or indirectly. Directly or indirectly. In any of the vendor companies. In any of the vendor companies which sell goods on their platform. Next, they cannot exercise control and ownership of goods which are sold through their platform. Next, if a seller were to sell, more than 25% of his inventory through the platform of a foreign e-commerce company, this inventory shall be deemed to be controlled by a foreign e-commerce company. Next, they are subjected to equalization levy at the rate of 6% on their annual advertisement income. Next, they are subjected to digital tax at the rate of 2% on their annual revenue above rupees 2 crores from the sale of goods and services in Indian markets. Read. Have you marked your doubts? A question came on this year before last in Prelims. The question was on that 25%. But examiner was very clever. The language that he used was, statement that he gave was, the degree to which large sellers can sell their goods on the platform of a foreign e-commerce company is limited. 25% was not said. Limited means not more than. Do you have doubts on any of the points? Now, I ask you a question. Unless we had done routes, you would not have understood what is the automatic route. So please tell me your doubts. Equity stake. What does that mean? What do you mean equity? Shareholding. If Amazon starts having a shareholding stake in any of the companies which sells goods through their platform, that means bias will set in. Yes or no? Amazon Basics actually is a company which was set up in 2009. It's a separate entity altogether.
In the first point, when it says 100% FDI is permitted under the automatic route for a foreign for an e-commerce company, so it's a foreign company and for that FDI is
FDI किसके लिए होती है? फॉरेन कंपनी के लिए तो होती है. फॉरेन डायरेक्ट इन्वेस्टमेंट इज फॉर व्हाट? क्या? फॉरेन डायरेक्ट इन्वेस्टमेंट इज फॉर foreign companies. Cloudtail is the Walmart. That is the, which is that Indian e-commerce company, very popular? Flipkart. So Cloudtail has a stake in Flipkart. Cloudtail. But then Flipkart is an Indian company. Incorporated in Bangalore. Cloudtail is an arm of Walmart. Amazon? Cloudtail? No. Walmart. Check up. I would say Cloudtail. You know Narayan Murthy? Yeah. Sunak is now the Prime Minister. At one point of time, Narayan Murthy had some stake in Cloudtail. These are factual. This is the policy laid down for foreign e-commerce companies, right? And of course, undoubtedly, it is a fact that they can't be called retailers because they are not selling goods. Goods are being sold through them, not from them. So, Ministry of Commerce guidelines very clearly say that they are to be called marketplaces. Now, in economic theory, we say what is a market? What is the definition of a marketplace? We say if buyers and sellers come together even on telephone, or even by letter, or even an email, this is marketplace. Predatory means aggressive. Means they cannot adopt aggressive pricing practices on their own to lure customers. Right? Very recently there was an ad of Amazon. We thank all our sellers who have reposed faith in us. So it is on behalf of the sellers on their platform that they, right?
सेल लगाते हैं वो तो उसमें आ जाएगा predatory price.
Tail.
सेल रहते हैं जैसे
That is sale through which these are offers of the sellers projected by Amazon on behalf of the sellers. Similarly, Government of India laid down its FDI policy towards China in 2020, revised its policy because China, as the pandemic began, share prices of HDFC Bank started falling drastically. People's Bank of China found it as an opportunity to take over HDFC Bank by mass investment in shares of HDFC Bank. Here the Government of India stepped in and revised its entire FDI policy towards China in April 2020. So let's take a look. What is India's FDI policy towards China? Please write. the government of India, the government of India, the government of India revised its FDI policy towards China in the backdrop of the threat of takeover, the threat of hostile takeover, the threat of hostile takeover what is that about? Oh, so artificial intelligence. So what have you written?
Threat of hostile takeover.
Now what is the sentence?
The government of India revised its FDI policy towards China in the backdrop of the threat of
Hostile takeover of the HDFC Bank, by the People's Bank of China in April 2020 with the onset of the pandemic in India, due to which shares of HDFC Bank started falling. Share prices of HDFC Bank started falling. Full stop. The revised FDI policy is based upon three-pronged, pronged, P-R-O-N-G-E-D, based upon three-pronged standard operating guidelines issued by the Government of India, which have to be followed by all ministries for vetting, VETTING, for vetting Chinese investments into India. Full stop. These guidelines are as follows. Number one, large investments by Chinese companies shall be permitted only in sectors having minimal Indian presence and in industries in which local entrepreneurs do not have adequate capacity. Do not have adequate capacity. So that is one. We have written three-pronged. So number two. Number two, Chinese investors and firms. Chinese investors and firms which are headquartered elsewhere. Headquartered elsewhere. They are not in China. Headquartered elsewhere, but which are routing their investments, ROUTING, which are routing their investments through Hong Kong. Shall also be considered in various sectors. Third, there are three standard operating. Three, small investments by Chinese companies. Small investments by Chinese companies shall also be permitted on a case-by-case basis in various sectors. Start a fresh para. That para is the most important. This para actually tells you what change has taken. In all the above three cases, comma, national security clause shall be incorporated as a mandatory clause. Full stop. This implies that India's FDI policy towards China is no longer an open door policy. full stop. The government of India has also laid down that FDI policy towards China shall be based upon government approval route. Even if a sector is under the automatic route. Full stop. In respect of six other nations with which India shares its land border, comma, the FDI policy shall be determined only on the basis of government approval route. Which means as many as with 7 nations, including China. Those 7 nations, you have next IAS book, it is given, there's a small box given in foreign investment, you will see that Afghanistan, Nepal, so on, right? It's given. Please read what you have written. In fact, you need not read, because simple as that. Since April 2020, the revised FDI policy towards China is no longer an open door policy. Not only in the sense that any investments coming from China shall be determined under the government approval route rather than automatic route, but also that for China specifically, they would have national security clause incorporated in any of the investments coming from China. As I said yesterday, most books, in fact no book, I have not seen any book which gives us FDI policy towards foreign e-commerce company or for that matter towards China. And as I said, it's not, I mean, somebody preparing for civil services, a general studies student, is not even aware of the automatic route, government approval route, so on, and not even caps, right? It's only after we explain to you that these are the caps, and we also explain to you that raising or lowering of caps would not only be determined by changing economic policy, globalization, the importance of a certain sector, so on, but also so much on the considerations of defense and national security as well as social security. When I told you yesterday that LIC came out with an IPO last year, right? Since life insurance means a risky business. So FDI cap in the LIC has been kept only at 10%. I have given you specific examples to make sure that a layman can easily understand India's FDI policy. All right? I gave you subheads. You have to tell me which is the next subhead. FDI? Multi-brand retail. Okay. Answer this question. What is multi-brand retail?
Centered by different countries. Competitive brands of different countries.
What is multi-brand retail?
Sir, one company in having like working in different portfolios.
Okay. Maybe I make your job simpler. What is single brand retail? I can bet everybody sitting here, I said everybody sitting here is wearing or using something or the other of a single brand foreign retailer in India. Nike, Adidas, Puma, Reebok, Zara, H&M, Gucci, Ferragamo, Louis Vuitton, Dior. I have given you examples and examples. Yes or no?
Yes.
These are single brand retails. I ask you a question. You go to a Nike store because you want a Nike shoe. Yes or no? There is no choice that you have. You want a Puma, you enter a Puma store because you want a Puma shoe, a Reebok shoe, an Adidas shoe. You want a Zara, you want a product from Zara, irrespective of whether it is manufactured in Indonesia, Bangladesh, so on. Most of the products are manufactured from abroad. But then there is Zara, the brand, Spanish brand. If you go to Barcelona, Zara's outlets are huge, running into 3 or 4 stores. I mean, initially we were having the impression that Zara sends to India discarded material, you know, because I've seen in Barcelona Zara's, right? It's a Spanish brand, very popular, and of course things have undergone drastic change in the last few years, and you know, it's not a very high priced kind of a thing. H&M, we've been seeing abroad for a long time. I think 66, it started for the first time. H&M is a very affordable brand. We have seen it in India now, we've been seeing it abroad. So, when you talk of single brand retail, it means that single brand sells because of its brand name. And use your common sense now. Unless, of course, common sense is very uncommon. Use your common sense. What should be FDI? Up to what percentage FDI shall be permitted in single brand retail in India?
100%.
Use your common sense. 100% under the automatic route. Because You are entering a certain store because you want to buy that brand. So we are permitting 100% FDI under the automatic route for single brand retail in India. But my question has still not been answered. What is multi-brand retail?
More than one, for example,
Sorry? Sorry? Example? My dear, have you heard of Walmart? Say yes or no. Walmart is an American chain. Otherwise, Britain and some parts of Europe, it is Tesco. Australia, New Zealand, it is Morrison. Then there is Carrefour in Gulf countries. Most of us are familiar only with Walmart. But there are, now, the Indian version of Walmart could be Big Bazaar, Reliance Retail, not Croma. Croma is only electrical goods. I am saying under one roof, as you call it, one-stop shop. Under one roof, you have grocery, you have vegetables, you have fruits, you have wines, you have utensils, you have clothes, you have cosmetics, you have honey, you have oil, edible oil, all these of different countries. What about Tata? What is Tata? Has Tata also got retail? Croma is electrical only, my dear. When you no. When you say, please listen. Okay, you are distinguishing between single brand and multiple brand. Multi-brand retail means under one roof you have a large variety of different products, as I said, ranging from grocery to cosmetics to fruits to vegetables to non-vegetarian items to wine to utensils to apparel to shoes, but of different countries and different brands, so that you have a huge choice in terms of variety available to you. That is called multi-brand retail. The most popular example for us Indians is Walmart. Time and again we talk of Walmart, which has still not made its entry into India directly. Upfront store, you don't have Walmart goods. Mahindra is in Bangalore. The Walmart sells goods to Mahindra back end. Upfront store is not Walmart. So our FDI policy towards multi-brand retail in India is restricted up to 51% under the government approval route. Have we made myself clear? That means we have still not permitted global retail giants like Walmart, Tesco, Morrison, Carrefour, and a few others to come and set up their stores in India. So I'm sure you will be anxious to know, sir, why? You will be anxious to know, sir, while we have gone such a long way in terms of opening up our economy, right? Why is it that we have still restricted opening up of multi-brand retail in India and permitting these global retail giants to come and set up stores in India, so that corresponding Indian stores also spruce up to face the competition to the larger benefit of the consumers, right? So will you not be anxious to know, sir, why the government of India over the years has restricted its FDI policy towards multi-brand retail in India? So what we are going to do is first to tell you what are the arguments given by the government of India to restrict this. Then I am going to give you studies conducted by an apex consumer organization in India, which is called ICRIAR, Indian Council for Research in International Economic Relations. What that study points out, that whether restricting this sector is relevant or not relevant. And what are the arguments given by that study? That if you open this sector, it is going to, the economy at large is going to derive a large number of benefits, including consumers, including agriculture, rather than restricting the sector up to 51% under the government approval. I hope I have made myself clear. So what I am going to dictate is very simple. First, I will tell you what are the arguments given by the government of India to restrict this sector over a period of time. Once those arguments are given, then I will tell you how relevant are those arguments. Then I'll tell you what are the findings of a study conducted by an apex consumer organization which has argued in favor of opening this sector and also given several benefits that the economy can derive, and these benefits may far outweigh the possible apprehensions against opening up this sector. Okay? Start. India's FDI policy. Sorry. India's FDI policy in respect of multi-brand retail is restricted up to 51% under the government approval route. Full stop. This implies that global retail giants like Walmart, Tesco, Morrison, and a few others are restricted to set up their stores in India. Full stop. There are two major arguments given by the government of India against opening up this sector. Which are as follows. One, it will result in loss of livelihood for for lakhs and lakhs of small neighborhood retail stores in India. Small neighborhood retail stores in India. Two, it will lead to large scale unemployment in the country. Okay? Start a fresh para now. While there may be some substance in these arguments, it is also to be realized that these small neighborhood retail stores will continue to survive because of some inherent advantages that they have vis-a-vis consumers. Vis-a-vis consumers. Vis-a-vis consumers, in respect of consumers. Like A. Proximity. B. Convenient timings. C. Catering to local tastes. And D. Selling goods on credit. Would you like to read these four? How many of you are staying in Rajendra Nagar? Many of you. Can you deny that these are the benefits you can derive? Proximity. Hang your basket. Bhaiya ye cheez de dena. If you are on the third floor, yes or no? Can you deny very convenient timings? Even if the shop opens at 10 in the morning and 9, if you khatkhatao, it can open at 6 in the morning. Say yes or no. Can you deny that it is this shopkeeper who gives you goods on credit? Can you deny that he can meet your local tastes? Say yes or no. Okay. Start a fresh para. A study conducted by an apex consumer organization. An apex consumer organization called ICRIAR. Indian Council for Research in International Economic Relations. The study reveals that there may be some initial setback for small neighborhood retail stores. But it may have a very marginal impact in terms of their overall sales, not only because most of the stores by global retail giants remain concentrated in bigger towns. But also because close to 60% of India lives in villages. As well as a substantial population in smaller towns. Full stop. The study argues in favor of opening up this sector which can bring a large number of benefits to the economy at large. As follows. Number one, it will benefit agriculture as these global retail giants may generally do away with middlemen and intermediaries. Middlemen and intermediaries may generally do away with middlemen and intermediaries. Number two, it will strengthen agricultural infrastructure, including warehousing, cold chain technology, etc., which is so essential for retaining shelf life of a large number of products in these stores. Three, it will satisfy a very important principle of economic theory, called consumer sovereignty. That is, consumer is the king. So that producers produce, what consumers demand. And he will have huge choices and varieties available to him. Four, these global retail giants are known for strict conformity to global standards of hygiene and quality. Standards of hygiene and quality, which ultimately benefits the consumers. Next, it will generate backward and forward linkage effects Next, it will generate large-scale employment opportunities. Next, it will infuse a spirit of competition. It will infuse a spirit of competition among the domestic retail giants. Which will ultimately benefit the consumers. Next, it will also help in export promotion. Start a fresh para. It goes without saying. It goes without saying. It goes without saying that while opening up this sector, comma, adequate safeguards have to be put in place to protect farmers as well as labor class, as there have been in some countries sporadic cases, just small little cases, sporadic cases of exploitation of labor by some of these retail giants. It would also mean one step further towards globalization. One step further towards globalization. Okay, read. The moment I ask you to read, casualties begin. I ask you a question. I ask you a question. Are you in favor of opening up this sector? No, sir. How many of you say no? Very few. Minority. Why should it not be open? Why should it not be open? I give you a very good example. Listen to this carefully. When we were to have metro in Delhi, listen to it carefully. When we were to have metro in Delhi, all of us used to say, thank God, once metro comes, traffic on road will drastically be cut down. What has happened is the other way around. Traffic has become so unmanageable, so erratic, because of e-rickshaws and three-wheelers. Yes or no? In most other countries, metro reduces the traffic on roads. You don't have this kind of, jams, road being completely jammed by three-wheelers for commuters coming from metro, e-rickshaws. We never saw them 8, 9, 10 years back. This huge number of three-wheelers, e-rickshaws are not even there. We never saw. And all of us should know, I'm told, and that must be right, that three-wheelers are being given to run, they are running on private licenses, not commercial licenses. That's why the number has swelled. I see three-wheelers everywhere. Everywhere. Even outside residential colonies, they have made their parking lots. When Kejriwal government took over, and I have that paper clipping still with me. A few days after the government took over, Kejriwal, it came in newspapers, three-wheelers shall not be challaned for 2 offences. The word offence was not there for 2 reasons. One, refusing to go to a certain place, which they often do. I never travel by three-wheeler, right? This is the worst sawari you could think of. Neither good in summer, nor in winter, nor in rains. Say yes or no. And the second offence, overcharging. These are the 2 offences. Yes or no? It came in newspapers. Have you ever seen a policeman challaning a three-wheeler? Never. They will do like this. I keep telling my driver, भैया इनसे बचा के रखना. Anyway, so what we were discussing was that there are apprehensions that small-time retailers, who are popularly called mom and pop stores. These neighborhood stores are called, even Commerce Ministry says mom and pop stores. Why mom and pop stores? Mom in her nightgown, pop in his pajama can go, can go, So, I am of the view that, look, these big stores are not going to be set up in every nook and corner of a city. They would be at a certain place, right? How much they are going to impact small-time retailers? I don't agree. Undoubtedly, most of these stores, that's my experience abroad also, most of these stores offer deals, buy one get one. The reason is obvious. Their turnover is huge. They may be selling 100 shampoos in a day. A small retailer sells 1 shampoo. Say yes or no? Yes, sir. So mostly they have deals on a large number of products. Of course, on bakery products in many countries, after 6, most of the bakery products half price because they are perishable. Unlike in India, where bakery product also they change the label and put it the next day. We are very smart. Do you understand? So, I don't know. Government of India has given these two arguments. But as I said, can you deny that proximity is a very important factor? Can you, because more often we say, yaar, itni dur kaun jayega? Yes, unless of course you have something special to buy. Two, undoubtedly, for a large chunk of the population, getting goods on credit is a big plus, right? And very convenient timings. Okay? So, then of course you have quoted a study by this Apex Consumer Organization, and this has given quite a few benefits that the economy can derive at large if you open up this sector. So I see, while we have gone a long way in opening up a large number of sectors, correct? I see no reason why this should be restricted. Rather, stores like Reliance Retail, Big Bazaar, Smart Bazaar, whatever, are going to really spruce up their stores to have a stiff competition with these retail giants. All right? My feeling is, now listen to me, my feeling is that there is a very strong lobby working against opening up this sector in India. You can imagine what that lobby would be. Because in our country, a large number of things happen, they take place because of political reasons, like in quite a few other countries also. I only remember one thing, that long back, about 15-20 years back, when it was almost decided to open up this sector, in the files somewhere in the ministry, it was very clearly laid down, written, that at least 25% of the jobs in these stores shall be provided to rural unemployed youth. I remember that very distinctly. That is where you say that while you open this sector, you have to protect interests of labor as well as, which means your policy should have inputs to make sure that labor is not exploited and farmers' interests are protected. You remember that case of Punjab farmers throwing tons of tomatoes and potatoes on the roads because they were angry with Pepsi or something, right? Okay. So this problem has to be addressed. Okay. So this was one issue where, again, unfortunately, books don't give this subhead at all, multi-brand retail. But 6 years back, there was a question in civil services. Okay? So let's move on to our next subhead. Next subhead is very, 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 very important. It is, I'm first going to give you a framework. I'm going to ask you a question. My question is, what are double taxation avoidance agreements? What are double taxation avoidance agreements? I repeat. A, what are double taxation avoidance agreements? B, what is the principal objective of such agreements? listen to me. I just can't dictate unless I have made sure that you have understood the framework. Here are agreements signed between two countries. Correct? So that companies, let's say MNCs from America, operating in India, are not subjected to pay tax both in India as well as in America. That is why they are called double taxation avoidance agreements. These are agreements entered into between two countries, and these agreements lay down that companies from one country operating in another country shall have the option to pay tax either in the country of their origin or in the country of their operation. I have given you an example. American multinational operating in India. If India has double taxation avoidance agreements with America, companies from America will have the option either to pay tax in America or pay tax in India. That is called double taxation avoidance agreements. 1982, I'll confine myself to Indian position. First telling you about global. First such agreement was signed by Indira Gandhi in 1982 with Mauritius. Today we have such agreements with over 90 countries, including with USA. My second question was, what is the objective of a country entering into such agreement with another country? To attract investments. Obviously, to attract investments from, because if that option is not there, companies from one country may not come to your country if tax rate in your country is higher than. Is it clear? Unless you are clear what are these agreements, you should know. Now, having defined what these agreements are, and also having told you that in the Indian context, 1982, Indira Gandhi had the foresight to enter into such agreement. How far that foresight would have worked profitably is a different thing. Why these agreements have been so much in the news? Why is it that in the last 10 or 15 years, these agreements have been so much in the news that somewhere global community, most of the countries feel that these agreements are being misused and abused. How? By multinational companies deliberately routing their investments through tax haven countries. Countries which are popularly called tax havens because tax rates in those countries are very low, in many of them even zero. Do you understand? Which means, supposing India has such agreement with Mauritius. Mauritius is a tax haven country. Singapore is a tax haven country. Cyprus is a tax haven country. Malta is a tax haven country. Monaco is a tax haven country. British Virginia is a tax haven country. Cayman Island, so many countries are popularly called tax havens. OECD. Do you know what is OECD? Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. It's called Club of 36 Rich Countries. OECD is considered the watchdog of tax havens. It has done extensive study and research on tax havens. And it has given beautiful description and characteristics of a tax haven country, which will dictate to you. What is a tax haven country? It has defined in terms of country having the following characteristics. So what has happened is that multinational companies have been smart enough to set up their offices and register their offices in a tax haven country, set up subsidiaries in other countries, route their investments from tax haven countries into this country, earn profit in this country, but not pay tax in this country because they have been routing investment through tax havens. So the global community is up in arms, shall I say, against tax havens. And in some context, when we were discussing taxation, I said we will discuss the proposal of imposing 15% global minimum corporate tax. You remember? This comes in the context of tax haven countries. I'll give you a very good example. I have examples and examples to give you. Bermuda, a small tax haven country in the Atlantic. Google Alphabet earned a profit of $19 billion in Bermuda, where this Google Alphabet doesn't have any tangible assets. It has not employed any labor. Do you understand? And yet, it has earned profits, and I will quote a study. If you quote that study in your answer, examiner will give you 15 out of 10. That study nobody knows even. Beautiful study. Sorry? I can bet. Examiner will start scratching his head. Oh. It's a beautiful study giving instances of how, listen, how multinational companies, their profits earned in tax havens, percentage of profits of total profits from tax havens earned gone up from 2% in 70s to 37% in 2019. Imagine. Their share of profits of multinational companies as percentage of global GDP has gone up. But their share of taxes in global GDP has gone down. Excellent study conducted by United Nations University. So, you should be very clear of what you are doing. So, when we take up these issues, double taxation avoidance agreements and the role of tax havens, I'll tell you that global community is almost very close to imposing this global minimum corporate tax. In fact, the Council of the European Union, which met on 15 December 2022, has already approved imposition of this tax, which was agreed upon by as many as 136 countries, including India, that there should be a tax imposed. Only thing is, modalities are being worked out by different countries before it becomes a reality. Right? So, this is the entire framework, and I'll tell you what kind of practices are generally adopted by multinational companies to avoid paying tax in countries other than tax haven countries. All right? So, let's start. At least we can begin. Today I'll leave by 8:45. Start. Double taxation avoidance agreements. Double taxation avoidance agreements are entered into by one country with another, so that companies investing in a country are not subjected to double taxation. That is, they have the option to pay tax either in their country of origin, or in their country of operation. Full stop. For example, an American MNC may be operating in India. And if India has such agreement with America, it will have the option to pay tax either in America or in India. Full stop. India entered into first such agreement. With Mauritius in 1982. And it has at present such agreements with over 90 countries. Full stop. Many of these agreements entered into by India or any other country, or by any other country, are also with such countries which are popularly called tax haven countries. Full stop. The OECD defines a tax haven country on the basis of the following characteristics. One, it may have no substantial economic activity. Two, it may have zero or very low rate of taxation. Three, it has lack of transparency. Four, it refuses to share information. It refuses to share information with other countries. And five, profit to wage ratio may be very high. Start a fresh para. Some of the popular tax havens are Mauritius, Singapore, Hong Kong, Switzerland, Malta, Panama, Cayman Island, Cayman, Cayman Island, Cyprus, British Virginia, Monaco, and a few others. Full stop. Continue with the same para. These agreements have been in the news. Particularly since 2008 global financial meltdown. Particularly since 2008 global financial meltdown, as it was felt that a large chunk of laundered money from tax havens may have contributed to the collapse of the financial system in the US, spreading over to the entire West. Full stop. Multinational companies have often used tax havens for routing their investments to other countries. Resulting in enormous loss of tax revenues to a large number of countries. Full stop. This implies that MNCs have abused and misused these agreements with popular tax havens to their advantage. Full stop. This is called BEPS, base erosion and profit shifting. Which implies shifting profits by eroding the base from one country into a tax haven country. Okay, we stop here. Next time when I meet you, I'll tell you what practices they adopt for base erosion and profit shifting. All right? Okay.